Thank you, Claire, and good morning to everyone. TheCityUK is delighted to be partnering with the Financial Services Skills Commission today to spend a day focusing on our most important asset, our people. You may well know that the financial and related professional services industry employs nearly 2.5 million people across the UK, 2/3 of them outside London. So the implications of these conversations for the UK as a whole are very important. And the role of the TheCityUK is to represent and rally the industry to achieve its full potential. Thank you also, if I can join Claire in thanking also our sponsors today, Lloyds Banking Group, Yorkshire Building Society, Capital One and Phoenix. The commitment of these four institutions to diversity and professional development provides leadership to our sector as a whole, while the mix of sectors our sponsors represent shows how important this topic is for our industry. I've spoken previously about the things our industry needs to grow its global leadership position. Innovation, agility, and insight among them. Those are things we learned through the pandemic, which was thrust upon us all unexpectedly, but they are learnings that must continue to develop to prepare us for whatever lies ahead. With the first quarter of this century bookended by the 9/11 attacks on the United States and the first conflict on European soil for 70 years, and with a global financial crisis and global pandemic in between, we would be naive to think that the second quarter of this century will not also throw up challenges of similar magnitude and impact. Our response must therefore be to focus on preparation and adaptation. So thinking of the focus of today's events, what are the challenges we face in attracting and developing the skills we need for the future? As I reflect on my career, one of the big changes has been the approach towards skills and career development. When I started out, when God was a boy, new recruits would join a graduate program to be taught the relevant skills for their job. In my case, this was about learning to read a balance sheet, to develop credit skills, to understand the cost of capital, to learn about the products and services banks provided to their customers. But it went beyond that, teaching me how to get things done in a large organization, how to write business proposals, and to build relationships of trust, what good customer service looks like, and how to negotiate. It was not unusual for employers to derive a substantial return on this investment, with graduate recruits who remained loyal to their firms for decades, perhaps even for their entire careers. But over time, as the market has become more flexible, our approach to skills and development has changed. Large corporations invest less in training and development and expect more from potential new hires at the point of recruitment. The goal is now to get the right training to the right person at the right time. Against a backdrop of rapid digitalization and changing demographics, the onus is much more on the employee to consider their potential path and to acquire the skills needed to achieve their goals. But it is not all on employees. Employers are having to learn to be more agile, creative, and forward-thinking about the types of skills they need to succeed. Recruitment is expensive, and too much turnover can make it hard to develop a shared culture and value system within an organization. A report last year on future skills from the Financial Services Skills Commission highlights this challenge. With 1 in 8 roles in our industry now tech-focused, there is a tendency to hire people rather than reskilling current employees. In doing so, we fail to address the underlying skills gap. While Edinburgh boasts the most equal gender balance of AI professionals, the third person to mention this morning, in Europe, and London has 3 times more AI experts than the next biggest hub, which is Paris, and the UK has the highest concentration of cyber specialists in the G20, research from the Commission shows that this growing need for tech roles is exacerbating gender imbalances in our industry. Every silver lining has a cloud. I think we all recognise we have a skills challenge in our industry, and the solution is to develop people to close skills gaps, but not just hire people to plug resource gaps. That requires careful thought about the skills our people need for our future economy. For example, in my day job at the Lloyd's of London insurance market, what is the role of the insurance broker in a world where AI can automate processes and analyse quotes instantly? What is the role of an underwriter if AI can analyse the data and separate good risks from bad? The answer is that just as the phone camera is still not as good as the human eye, even after decades of development, so a human's ability to make judgments, bring empathy, and build trusted relationships will always have a role in our economy. In overseeing the development of AI, in ensuring its interventions are benign and not corrupt, in offering intuition when the data leads to the wrong outcomes. AI is sophisticated and useful, but we will always need the emotional intelligence at the heart of a human interaction. Which means that training our brokers and underwriters in the way we did 10 or 20 years ago won't cut it. We must focus their development on the value-add activities that enable them to be most effective in the use of data and technology. The same is true of our workplaces. Technology enables flexibility and connection, but we must blend this with the subtleties, synergies, and creativity which only emerge when we gather in person and which have always been a core component of the most dynamic parts of the UK economy. So how do we meet these challenges? As a people-centred industry, we must integrate our customers' and clients' changing needs with the changing expectations of our current and future employees. That means listening to what they're telling us, whether through data gathering and reporting or customer and employee surveys, before acting quickly to show we've heard what they're telling us. It means ensuring our people reflect the communities they serve. We've made good progress in recent years, but we need to do much more to foster diversity at all levels of our organisations, particularly at the top. But it also means connecting, joining up to maintain the UK's attraction for domestic and overseas talent. And people come here for the UK's unparalleled access to overseas markets and the dynamism of our ecosystem, which increasingly must be an integrated ecosystem of businesses, policymakers, regulators, and academics, and to be part of our world-leading banking, asset management, insurance, legal, accounting, and consulting sectors. We must build this connection between regions. With 2/3 of our industry outside London, addressing skills gaps across the UK is essential to our future success. There is already good work underway, for instance through the Yorkshire and Humber Financial Services Skills Commission, setting out a framework for skills development in the region. But much more needs to be done to close these gaps, including through the further devolution of powers around education and training and fundamental reform to the apprenticeship levy. We also need to connect between countries. As the UK adjusts to life outside the EU, continuing to foster strong relationships with international partners from the Atlantic to the Pacific will ensure future employees can access the same opportunities many of us were lucky enough to receive. Again, the UK's post-Brexit mobility regime is already helping create these opportunities. But we must also connect between organisations. Secondments, courses and networking between our organisations aren't a threat to our future success. They're a core part of it. I see this in the work of the TheCityUK's Next Generation Leadership Council, where emerging leaders representing all the city's sectors come together to discuss and address the most pressing problems facing our industry today. Exchanging ideas and developing cross-sector skills will leave us with a better equipped, more flexible workforce that can adapt to the continued change in our external environment. It's a win-win for those involved. The shifts we've seen in recent years are only going to accelerate in the years ahead. The UK economy has a proud history of innovation and imagination to respond to historic challenges. We need to draw on all of that embedded capability to develop a state of readiness for the shifts of the future. That looks like an industry where employees are taking control of their own development, enabled by supportive employers, working in a joined-up economy that offers access and opportunities not found anywhere else in the world. It's a privilege to be working with the Financial Services Skills Commission and others in this room to create those opportunities and to prepare our people for the future. And I hope our discussions today help accelerate our ability to adapt in the months and years ahead. Thank you for listening.